There's something hanging in the air around Edmonton, and it's not just the sharp Alberta cold. After what we've seen these last few games, it feels like something big is about to pop. The question is whether it's a breakthrough or a full-blown unraveling, with heroes showing up at the right time, mistakes begging for changes, and numbers that tell a story the scoreboard hides. Every fan's heart is running hot. You won't believe what we've got today, so grab a seat, hit that like button, and let's get right to it. If you only saw the final score, you probably shrugged and moved on. But if you watched that game, you know the Oilers got out by a thread. Yes, an overtime win. Draisaitl burying the winner. That surge of adrenaline that gets you yelling at the TV. But let's be honest, that was a win built on guts, not structure. For long stretches, Carolina ran the pace. If not for a heavy dose of individual brilliance, that result would have flipped. This is the kind of win that tastes sweet and sour at the same time. To points on the board and a pile of issues behind the curtain. Right out of the gate, Edmonton looked flat. For dangerous turnovers, sloppy mistakes, and suddenly the Kings controlled the tempo. The only break was Anderson coughing up that first goal, and Ryslavik pounced on the gift. Moments later, McDavid, always in the right place at the right time, turned a rebound into a 2-0 lead that felt like the start of a blowout. Then the lights went out. For the periods, the Oilers got swallowed whole. Carolina won battles everywhere, bullied corners, dictated pace, and exposed every structural crack. The team looked lifeless, missing that spark, and fans are asking the obvious question. Where's the emotional engine of this group? Where's the hungry team from 2022 that believed in a cup run? The Hurricanes tied it up because they earned it. They pushed, they forced errors, and if not for Stuart Skinner standing tall, we'd be talking about a meltdown. He was a wall, snagging high-danger chances and holding together a blue line that had lost its bearings. But patience hits a wall when discipline slips. Darnell Nurse got rocked, reacted with emotion and not much else. Unnecessary cross-checks, needless penalties. Draisaitl followed the same path and took a bad emotional penalty of his own. It's wild how this team, under pressure, keeps handing its opponent a loaded stick. Against Carolina in a tight game, one crack can sink you, but there's a glimmer of hope. In spite of everything, the team found a way. McDavid said it right. We held on. That's more than a cliche. It's a piece of identity. The Oilers are far from playing their best hockey, but they're grinding out wins. Hyman returned like a wrecking ball, with 11 hits and the kind of physical presence that changes the temperature of every shift. Skinner proved he can carry weight when things start spiraling. And Draisaitl, frustration or not, finished it when it mattered. Great players win even on off nights. Until this team finds its clean game again, the one thing they can't lose is the habit of stealing points. Every inch matters, and that wasn't even the most surprising part of the day. Look at the straight overtime wins, and you might think the ship is aligning. But the truth is sharper. Edmonton is winning on a razor's edge, swinging between flashes of brilliance and costly lapses. And the soft spot remains in net. Against the Blue Jackets, the comeback needed lucky bounces. The kind you thank the hockey gods for but can't rely on. Against the Flyers, the difference between panic and relief was an offside review. The points feel good, but this script won't survive until April without a real shift between the pipes right now. Stuart Skinner is the most reliable option, yet he's still short of what a contender needs. It's hard to thrive when the team coughs up second chances and loses the blue line under pressure. But the expectations here are different. The bar is a championship. Calvin Pickard has struggled more than the group can afford. And that drags not just the scoreboard, but the room's confidence. The message is clear. Without stability in net, every game turns into a grinder. No team survives a playoff run on that kind of roulette. That's where things heat up on the market. Alex Lyon in Buffalo looks like a practical bet. Manageable cost. Track record of giving you a solid tandem and a mental profile that fits Edmonton's urgency. Akko-Pekka Luukkonen is a higher ceiling gamble with real risk. Since his extension, his numbers have bounced and his confidence wavers. It's the kind of move you make with conviction. Merzlikins in Columbus has a shorter deal and a resume with highs and lows. The honest question is whether he lifts the floor. In some situations, yes, especially behind a more structured team. Jordan Binnington brings the playoff chaos factor that drives people wild. His raw stats don't reflect how cold-blooded he gets in big moments. And that matters when you're trying to carry a series. Juuse Saros is the premium prize. Elite, immediate impact, heavy contract. But if you have a window with McDavid and Draisaitl, sometimes the impossible becomes management's job. The fan base is split, and it makes sense. Some want full aggression, trade picks and prospects, send the message that the window is now. Others fear repeating past mistakes that cost the future. The balance point is making a move that raises the floor today, without choking the cap for coming summers and keeping options open for the deadline. With Hyman back and Roslovic trending up, the team can give its goalie more insulation. But without the right anchor, the whole ship rocks. A lot of people see 9-7-4 and think the team is fine, but that record hides a problem you can't sweep away. The Oilers' 5-on-5 attack is well below what's acceptable for a roster with McDavid and Draisaitl. They're scoring a little per hour, and it's not just bad luck. They aren't generating enough real chances. In past seasons, when the puck wasn't going in, the expected numbers still defended the process. Now, the process is off too. That's why closing out games in regulation is a saga. Only for regulation wins in 20 games. That's a blinking warning sign for anyone thinking about long playoff rounds. 3-on-3 can save you in November. It won't save you in May. Let's break it down. When McDavid and Draisaitl share the ice, the goals per hour are still strong, but not the 4/60 explosion we've seen before. Apart, the story shifts. Draisaitl holds first-line impact on his own. McDavid, without his usual partner, has dipped to a surprisingly modest clip. Fans can see it. Shifts with McDavid without Hyman feel less piercing, less drive to the middle, more mid-range shots, more predictability. That's not a talent issue. That's architecture. And the architecture is off. The defense is shooting too much from the point. Nearly 4 of every 10 5-on-5 shots come from the blue line. That inflates volume and tanks quality. It creates a weird paradox: average volume, low danger. It's a tactical bet that needs tweaking. Activate the point to move defenders and open seams, not to settle for distance shots. That's why their high danger chances have dropped hard compared to the team's standard. McDavid used to sit above 18 HDCF per 60 without Draisaitl. Now he's running at half that, with fewer cutbacks, fewer drives into the slot, and less second layer support. Opponents can breathe. Context matters. Hyman was out, and he changes the DNA of the line. He's the engine that crashes, digs, recovers pucks, and turns scrums into extended possession. His return injects physicality, hard roots, and that first touch that speeds up the zone cycle. Chemistry and health factor into. If McDavid's managing anything physically, stable line mates and controlled minutes help, and the constant line shuffling doesn't give anyone rhythm. With only two combinations breaking the 80-minute mark, it's tough to build timing or blind reads. The bottom six feels that even more. Mangiapane hasn't been right. Frederick hasn't been the same since the ankle issue, and the team hasn't found reliable pairs that complement each other. There's light ahead. Roslovic has emerged as a volume valve, shooting often, dragging defenders out of their comfort zone, and earning extra minutes. With Hyman back and our NH returning to stabilize the 3C spot, the bottom six can finally breathe and turn possession into real presence in the slot. The tactical mission is clear. Cut reliance on point shots, rebuild the inside game, stop freezing along the perimeter, and lock into line combos for at least a month. Identity returns when you stop playing against the clock and start playing against the opponent. And while we're all losing our minds over this, hold on, because we're closing with the spark this fanbase needs. When a team wins on grit, exposes flaws, and still imposes talent at the critical moment, the message is simple. The fire is burning, but it needs oxygen. Discipline has to rise, goaltending has to settle, and 5-on-5 play has to attack the inside again. With Hyman back, Roslovic rising, and the right adjustments on the bench, the path is there. Now it comes down to urgency and action. Would you trade picks for a goalie today, or hold until the deadline? Drop your take, hit like, share it with your Oilers buddies, and subscribe. This is just the start.